Hey everyone, welcome back to Sissy's Savories and Sweets. I'm going to show you how to make, in a pinch, refried beans when you don't have the appropriate beans in your house, or like my friend Jen, who didn't realize her beans had gluten in them. So this is a really quick, easy version. Not the same process as slow cooking your own beans, but if you need beans in a hurry, this is what I would do. So you're gonna need a can of beans. You can use kidney beans, black beans, brown beans, whatever beans you like, but I'm using a can of black beans. You're gonna need to season your beans. Beans without flavor are horrible. So make sure you have salt on hand. So beans typically do not have a lot of salt in the can, so make sure you've got some salt on hand. Now seasoning them is your choice. Some people don't like flavor, just the beans themselves. I always season my beans. I like flavor in my beans, so one option is to use just taco seasoning. The other option, which I'm going to use today, is just some taco sauce. And then I've got some spices to kind of amp up the flavor. I've got cumin, and I've got some chili, and I also have this very spicy spice blend that's salt-free. So let me just show you real quick how easy this is in minutes to make your own refried beans. I'm going to just turn the camera here. Okay, I have this little, it's one of those blenders that you can use as an immersion blender or a little small food processor. So take your can of beans. I'm not gonna rinse these or drain them. If they have a lot of excess water, you can, but let me see how much water is in here. Some beans have more water than you would like, and you don't wanna make them too runny. Then you're just gonna zhuzh these up. I'm gonna do a little drain. There's a lot of water in here. Hang on. There you go. So you will heat these when you get done before you serve your food. But if you're looking for a quick bean alternative, let me get this lid off out of my way. Then this is the way I would go. So put your beans. And you can use a food processor. You can actually do this by hand if you're that adventurous. I'm not that adventurous today. Now your spice. Make sure you've got some salt on hand. Even though you've got seasoning in your whatever you're adding to it, you need to add just a little salt. I'm adding probably half teaspoon, then we'll taste it to see what we need. I'm gonna add my taco sauce. This has a lot of really good flavor in it. I like my beans spicy, so I'm adding about a quarter cup. And you do not have to flavor them. This is just one way to mix them. I like cumin, about a half teaspoon. Oh, I love the smell of cumin. And you can always adjust. Versus putting too much, just put a little at the start, and then cut back. And about a half teaspoon of chili powder. Again, if you don't want to season them, you don't have to. I like mine seasoned. Okay, so there's our beans with a few spices in them. Attach your lid. Literally, you guys, minutes. You'll have this done. If I can get this to lock into place here. There we go. You gonna lock it in place for me or not? Oh, the joys of going live and having equipment that doesn't want to lock for you. There we go. Okay. We got a quick good. That's about 30 seconds. And there you have it, you guys. Now, you can make them smoother or less chunky, but I'm gonna heat these. I'm gonna put these on tostadas, but the texture is like perfect texture. So let's just test the spice level. You could use your blender. My blender. Oh, my blender. Oh, yes, my blender. My blender. I want a little more salt and a little more cumin and chili. So start easy on your spices, you guys, and then you can always add more. That's if you want spices in your beans. Some people don't put spices in their refried beans. So I'm adding about a quarter teaspoon of the cumin and the chili to it. Put my lid back on. Zhuzh it up, it gets loud. And let's just test it again. Make sure you check for salt. Salt is key. Perfect. So, look at this texture. Smooth, creamy. I did drain the water off, but if you need refried beans for a meal and you're in a hurry and you don't want to cook down your own beans, take your food processor, take your immersion blender, take your IP food processor blender, whatever you have. I use this because it's quick to grab off the shelf to make my beans. That's the first part of supper. I'm making those enchilada meatballs, but I'm going to pull out ingredients to show you homemade fresh salsa. So I'll be back. Happy cooks, cook with Vicky. Helpful hint, I use the lid of the spice jar to measure. Yep, I do the same thing. I'm more of an eyeball person, but Vicky does a great thing. She uses the lid to measure her spices, which is perfect because then you have a better control of it. Depends, I use that for my yeast when I bake, but just take your lid off and use that to measure your spices. I tend to eyeball, unfortunately, but whatever technique works best for you guys to use your spices. I'm gonna show you though, next step, how to make a homemade salsa. So happy cooks, cook with love. I'll catch you in a few minutes. Okay guys, we're back. Here's the next recipe for tonight's supper. I'm making Mexican food tonight. We're having enchilada meatballs. I just showed you how to make a quick version of refried beans. Now I'm gonna show you my 6 ingredient salsa. So easy, you'll be like, so easy. So the 6 ingredients are jalapeno peppers, tomatoes, salt, cumin, red onion, and parsley. So I just rinsed out my little food processor because it was the easiest thing to grab, especially in this space. Make sure everything's open before I get you guys going. Okay, so a couple of tips. Sometimes you buy tomatoes and you don't use them all. So what I do is I rinse off my tomatoes and I freeze them. And then I use that to make salsa. So I'm going to show you that. And just flip the camera. Still works, please. Okay, so I'm just going to do a small batch for supper. These have been rinsed out. They're jalapenos. They're whole with the seeds. I like my salsa spicy. If my husband doesn't sweat, it wasn't hot enough. Let's start with 1. Here's the tomatoes that I froze. I washed them off and I froze them whole. And they're a little flinty, so don't get freaked out if you see a lot of liquid come out. But they're just fine the way they are. And those are going to go in whole. Next, you're going to want to add, I like the color of the purple onion. You don't need to do fine dicing or chopping with this. Just take it, do a half. If you want to do a bigger batch, feel free. It does not have to be this small container. I'm just doing a batch for supper tonight. Put the skin off there. And this is my wonderful knife from Pampered Chef. I'm just gonna chop that in quarters. Make sure you don't overfill your little food processors or whatever you're using to make your salsa. So there's 3 of our 6 ingredients. I'm gonna add some salt. So Vicky uses the lid to measure, which is a great idea. I eyeball my stuff, but I'm also gonna add cumin. I want the cumin to be prominent, so I'm gonna put about a good teaspoon. And I'll add more if I need it. So remember to add less to begin with, and then you can adjust it later. Salt. Remember my rule about the palm of your hand? That little dip in the palm of your hand is about a teaspoon. And you do not want to go light on the salt with this because it's going to bring out the vegetable flavor. So that's about a teaspoon of salt, and then we can always adjust it. Okay? 6 ingredients. Oops, forgot my parsley. Almost forgot my parsley. So this is some fresh parsley for color. And whip it up. Now, I like my salsa to be pretty smooth. And you can adjust the heat by adding more jalapeno. You can adjust the tomato level. You can adjust everything to your liking. Gonna give a little more quick zhuzh. I like mine pretty smooth. Okay, so there you go, guys. 6 ingredients. Now, if it doesn't taste good, it's not going to be eaten. So let me just grab my spoon here. And again, I like it hot, you guys. So if you don't like that much heat, cut back on your jalapeno. If you want more heat, and knowing me, I'm going to add more jalapeno. Oh my gosh, you guys. The flavor, that tingle on your tongue. So I am not a good one to tell you how much spice to use because I love spice. I had chemotherapy 20 years ago, cancer survivor, yay. But spicy food, unless it's super spicy, just tastes bitter to me. So, but oh my gosh, you guys, why buy the canned stuff when you can make fresh? What would that take me, 3 minutes? 6 ingredients: jalapeno, purple onion, tomatoes that I washed and froze when I had extras, parsley, salt, and cumin. Look at that, you guys. Fresh, homemade salsa in less than 5 minutes. You guys, cook with love. Find ways to make healthy, wholesome food. There you go. Happy cooks. I'll catch you later. Have fun cooking.